sports listeners. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This is a whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. And all those people and businesses that support those teen athletes. When Salvador Rodrigues walks in, everybody, extra hand. That's it. He's back. Hoop there, right now. Hoop there it is. Put it. Hoop there it is. Hoop there it is. Well, he's all looking at me. What does that mean? I don't know. We don't know.
I don't know what it means. Where did that come from?
I don't know. We didn't do that on the first show. I was like trembling on the first show. Good. That's right. I interviewed you, and thank God you did all the talking because I didn't know what I was saying.
That was 8 years ago.
I was 10.
10 years ago?
No, it was 8.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know how many years. You don't know who he is? He's Sal Rodrigues.
Maybe the people out there.
Huh? Everybody. Oh, yeah, right. He's got his name on a building. Everybody in the country knows who Salvador Rodrigues is. Why are you whispering? Here. Terri Cooper, Dr. Energy, marriage and family therapist, right?
Pump up the volume.
Wants to know.
What? No dead air.
No dead air. So who are you? I'm Terri. Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
And what do you do?
What do I do? I ran the Boys and Girls.
Our queen is choking. Was that a silly question?
I worked in the Boys and Girls Club for about 40 years.
Oh.
And I started when I was 5. So, anyway, I retired about 8.
Well, before I was born.
Probably. I retired, I can't believe it's been 10 years, 2008. And right now I'm working for Val Verde. It's a retirement center.
Oh, I know. It's just down the road from me.
Yeah.
What do you do for them?
I drive a shuttle. If a resident wants to go to the doctor, I take them to the doctor, wait for him, bring him back, and it's pretty cool.
So your life has really been about service, hasn't it? And service to the community.
Yeah, I raised a lot of kids. Got Erica to coach a basketball team, little kids, and she never lost a game. I raised a lot of money. When you're a CEO of an organization, it's always raising money. It never ends, constantly.
You know, you actually are the queen of this show. Why don't you mention things?
No, you tell him. Ask him.
No.
Say it.
No.
Somebody better.
Okay, she wants me to talk to you about being a Vietnam vet.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I lucked out because, when I went in, I was all gun-ho and I was going to go airborne and all that stuff. And then I went through basic training. And out of our company, which is like 125, 130, I don't know, I was the only one that came out with this. When you graduate, they give you a number, 11 Bravo, 11 Alpha. That's infantry. I had a 71 H20. I was like, what the heck is this? I asked the sergeant, what is this?
It's Uber.
He said, Sonny, you're going to be a clerk. I go, really?
Wow.
So
you're lucky.
Forget all this jumping out of planes and all that stuff, and I went over and worked on a typewriter. So anyway, I was there in 1969, 1970.
Do you ever wonder if maybe that was fate that kept you safe so that you could come and do the good work that you did for all those years?
You said that, and I always often think about that. I think there was a reason for me because very few of us got clerk jobs. Being Hispanic, being African American, you're out in the field, you're out in the boonies and shooting people and that kind of stuff. I sat there when I got interviewed by a warrant officer. He goes, "If you don't know what you're doing, if you screw up, I'll give you a gun and you're going out in the jungle." I says, "Don't have to worry about that. My mom didn't raise a dummy."
Well, I'd say that's a heck of a motivation, Sal.
Also, my brother was in infantry, and we were at the same time, and then I volunteered to go. And you can't have two brothers in the same combat zone, so they sent him to Germany. So I like that worked out for both of us. So
what a blessing for your mother that she knew you both were safe during that time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I worked at Goleta for, 30 years, and then another 14 at United. So that's good.
Woo, Sal Rodrigues.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service to our country.
There you go. And to your left, we have Sam Russell. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
So the season's over. How'd you guys finish out?
We won. We won Channel League.
Of course you did. course.
As you predicted.
Yeah,
So how'd you finish? What was your batting average?
475.
Of course it was. So this is so funny. No, that stinks. So my son is home, right? And so all season, and I've been trying to having Sam work with John. So son John is home, and he was supposed to go shoot straight down to San Diego. So he's making a pit stop here in Santa Barbara before he goes to San Diego. So I'm working on having them connect today. So first of all, everybody knows I can't text. I'm horrible. Okay, everybody knows that. So I'm doing this 3-way text. I have this one, I'm talking to a friend, texting a girlfriend, and then I've got John and Sam going, whatever, and John's like, oh, Mom, I'm doing a workout this, and then I got to do this, and I says, no, you are working with Sam after the show. So I inadvertently text Sam by accident instead of son John. I said, look, he is my soul son. Be nice to him. And then Sam texts me back, I am nice. And I look at it and I go, oh, God. I go, oopsie. And how adorable is that, huh? This is what I go back. And because you are kind of like my soul. I mean, I don't know how you map the world. So if you're, Catholics or whatever, I don't know how you. Well, that's just how I map it. It doesn't really. I don't really care how you map things anyway. So
anyone who loves baseball is a soul sibling of Erica.
Yeah, but because you wait till you guys get together, right? Are they going to match up really nice, right? Yep. So then I had said, and then John's like, Mom, all my stuff is in San Diego. So boom, I gave him my credit card. I don't care what you need. You have everything. Yep. Whatever you don't have, I have my credit card. Boom. I mean, it's going to be really fun for the next couple of days. And then it's really kind of cool because I figure I already know you're going to go places, so I just got to I always give you my little texty things. No drama, good body, right? Do I give you my little motivational tips?
Yeah.
And look at him already. He's already, how old are you?
15.
Oh. You're only 15? Yes. Yeah. Look at him. God, can you tell the little story about the peanuts real fast?
What? So
you're going to love this. Sarah, listen to this story.
We have
Sarah Gore in the house.
Hey.
She just pop in. Okay, we're going to get you in a second. Not like you're not celeb, but 1 second. Okay, listen to the peanut story.
Which story? There was two. There was one when I was at baseball in between the games, and there was one when I ate backyard bowls. Backyard bowl is better. Sorry, backyard. But you're in trouble, but go ahead. So I went to backyard bowls, the one here on State. Yeah. And I go there all the time, and I normally get granola. So I got a granola, and I get it, and then I'm walking upstate after I ate it. And I'm allergic to walnuts. It's walnuts, not peanuts. And then... Well, finally you were tested. It's good that we cut that down. Go ahead. And then I start feeling weird. My throat's getting closing up and stuff. And I have an EpiPen and my friend's with me. So then we sit down and I go get water and stuff. And then I start getting super bunch of hives and stuff. And I start itching. So she takes my EpiPen out of my backpack and stabs it in the side of my leg. I love her already. Zena!
She read the directions first.
Yeah.
Yes. But can you imagine the poise? She didn't shake or nothing.
Yeah, well, good for you for having the EpiPen on you, too.
Yeah.
You have to always
she didn't even have training. She just, boom, go. Go.
My daughter's in preschool. I have a 3.5-year-old, and we just got a notice that there's a student coming in that has a peanut allergy. So everybody's on notice now to be careful about putting anything in the bags. And we actually have these little peanut butter sandwiches my husband just got, and it's I have to do something with them. I should have brought them today. Actually, there are no walnuts, so you could probably eat them.
Greg, finish the story. You're not even done yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So then she calls my mom, and my mom comes. And then she was like, should I call an ambulance? My mom was like, no, I'll get there faster. So my mom gets there, and then she takes me all the way from State Street to Cottage Hospital. We got there in 5 minutes. She said she's going 110 on the freeway the whole way there.
Well, what about your other friend who panicked because you had another EpiPen, right?
Oh, yeah. My cousin was supposed to stab me with another EpiPen because it wasn't working that well. And she goes to do it, but she messed it up. So the needle shot out before it, before she stabbed me with it. And I freaked out and tried to jump in the back, and it was because I didn't want to get stabbed with a needle that was that long.
Choked.
Oh my god.
Do you wear? I don't see a bracelet on. Do I know people that are diabetic and have different epilepsy and things like that will wear bracelets so if they happen to be out and they're alone, somebody will know what's going on. Do they have those kind of bracelets? Or what do they call those things? Medical alerts? Medical alerts, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have one. I used to have a dog tag that said what I was allergic to and stuff on it, but I just don't really wear it anymore.
Ah, okay.
Next
Well,
time if
there
this
you
were to
go.
happen again, are you gonna do it yourself. Make sure you do it right. You can't do it yourself?
Well, I don't really like needles, so probably not going to do it myself.
Well, it's a matter of whether you like living or shooting up. Pick one.
Oh my God.
No, it's interesting you talked about hives because with me, I was working in the Boys Club in the art and craft room with silk screening shirts, and I broke out into hives from my head all the way down to my toes, just all over the place. And I went to the doctor, and he gave me a shot of adrenaline. And it disappeared. But from then on, I broke out with hives. And I think stress had a lot to do with it. Because once I retired, the hives went away. And I'm talking about big, itchy hives where you could break a bottle over. And one time my eye blew up like this. And I don't think I'm allergic to anything, but stress did a lot. So.
Well, we have Alexandra Marx. We have to fill in and check in on her. Berkeley bound. Woo! Yeah.
Thanks.
So, we do have a couple. You want to touch in on a couple of?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we do have a few different things to talk about today, but I'll say that on Tuesday I finished up my last kind of school thing. I had an AP test, and I finished up NCL on Sunday, so I'm starting to realize how home free I am. But It'll go back to being pretty it'll go back to being pretty hectic in August. So, but no, it's really exciting, and there's just a lot to talk about today. So we'll get there when we come back after the break.
All right, let's take a little break. We still have a couple of things we want to talk to. We talked to Terri Cooper. We've got Dominique Hackett, but we'll take a break, and we'll get to more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
I'm going to shoot it right back to Alexandra Marx. All right, I'll give it back to you. We had something sad go on at Santa Barbara High. So I'll let you go.
Yeah. So last Tuesday, actually, one of the seniors committed suicide, or it's what's believed to be suicide. And, I think there's a lot to be said about that, but I know that a few of my friends took it very close, or were very close to him, obviously, or just felt like they were wondering what they should have done. And I think in that situation, like I was talking to Terri earlier, it's always hindsight, serves you best. There was a few warning signs, but you can never tell in those situations. And I think the lesson that's being learned is that you can't really ever be too careful. So we are definitely just in a process of mourning, and I didn't know him personally, unfortunately, but it's the kind of silent killer, and it can hit anybody. So we just have to be really mindful of everything that we're doing and everybody around us.
Yeah, the hard part is the people who are most susceptible are usually the ones not talking, and that's part of the problem, is that it's so wonderful that when we talk to people about what we're going through, we actually help move the energy through our body, because our brains are wired to replay scenarios in order to figure out, are we safe? And so for someone who's not talking and not really metabolizing and integrating experiences, the brain keeps replaying events, and they can get caught on that loop. It's like getting caught on the wheel that a mouse is turning on, and that can just bring them right down to a place where they do something that's not going to help them.
And when you're in a state of depression, I don't know if he was, but when you're in depression, you're not thinking rationally, and the ideas that you have and the things that feel like they make sense would never make sense if you were not in that altered state where your normal levels of serotonin and epinephrine are functioning and are at the correct levels. You would simply not consider that kind of thinking rational. But when you're in that mindset, because of the physiology of the body, the chemistry of the body being out of whack, your thinking processes make it seem like that's perfectly logical and your only choice. The unfortunate thing is that it's, as we know, a permanent solution to a temporary state of mind.
There's one doctor in town, Dr. Quacco. He does a wonderful thing. When you go visit him, he gives you a paper that has a list of what wellness is. So what is it like to be mentally healthy and well? And I put that list on the refrigerator so the kids could start. You don't have to focus on the negatives. You can focus on the positives. You know, like, are all your friends? Are you able to hug all your friends? Are you able to have eye contact when you're having conversations? Are people sharing stories, or are they sort of retreating? Are they available, you know, to take a call? Is there a reciprocity where you tell a story and they tell a story? So those, you can do a check-in on your friends by looking for signs of health.
I think those are great points. And just on what Terri just said, I think that's why it's so important to be empathetic and also not take responsibility too. And just for anybody who did know him, just to know that, you know, there's not, you know, you can only do so much too in those situations. And I think it's really important with the club right now, what we're trying to really reinforce, the Wellness Connection Club, by the way, reinforce this idea of, like, if you see something that might look concerning, then it's just better to report it and just make sure that that person's okay. Make sure that they're talking to an adult that can connect them to something if they need it, and make sure that that person knows that either, oh, okay, if I post this type of thing, then it's concerning to my friends, or I actually do have help if I need it. So just those types of things I think are really important.
Absolutely. It's so important that we I think err on the side of caution, because we're tempted to let it go or say, oh, it doesn't mean that, or I'm reading too much into it, or we worry that we're crossing a boundary, we're making a big deal out of nothing, or we go about our business. And then, of course, when something happens, then we wonder about it. So along with what you said, don't be afraid to cross that boundary and say, I'm concerned. Let me help you. Let me be with you. Let me talk to you. Let me get you somebody to help you. And not to be afraid to reach out to that person because it might be uncool or intrusive. I mean, I think we know that, but I think we really, really have to be okay with that. And I think that can help people.
It's really beautiful when, with our friends, we can say, I see you and I hear you, but don't feel the pressure of having to solve their problem. Just be present. Exactly. I see you and I hear you and I feel you.
I think that pressure does exist on a lot of people. I know I am one to always feel like I have to take that type of pressure on, but just with everything that I've learned, I think it's really important to have these skills too in general, and just take them with you throughout your life. I know when I was thinking about going to college and stuff, I was really, I know my parents were concerned too about how, you know, that can affect you, and just being around a lot of people who are isolated potentially. And I just know that I feel comfortable entering those situations if they do come, because sometimes they'll just come unexpectedly. So that's the hope, that everybody feels that way when they're
It's harder for boys, though, than it
definitely
is for girls. Girls are taught that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to feel less than perfect. It's not. Girls need to be perfect. That doesn't need to, but that's the pressure.
Right.
But boys, I think males have a little more difficult time saying, I'm lost, I'm depressed, I'm hopeless, I don't know what to do. And so we have to find a way to cross over to reach out to them and say it's okay to have your feelings, and we love you and we accept you and we hear you.
Quick question: what services are available? Professional services does the school provide? I mean, and what is it? Is it one professional provider for 500 students? I mean, what? I mean, how many Terri Coopers are available?
Well, what I wanted to say is, there are wellness counselors now available at all of the public high schools. I don't know so much about the private schools, although I know private schools, you do have more access to teachers and stuff. There's also Safety, which is a really great contact person. They're specifically dealing with suicide prevention for youth and also just mental wellness. I'm trying to pull up the thing, but there's also, 211, there's 911, there's a lot of different resources, the Behavioral Wellness Center, Mental Wellness Center, all of those places you can call, and if you're really concerned, you can obviously talk to them. There's also a text line. If you look that up, and you're concerned, you can always just text your concern, and they'll train you with how to approach that situation.
Nice.
There's obviously
just like kids are at school 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so do we need to maybe modernize or update school systems?
Specifically with school systems, they didn't have a lot in place when I was starting high school, and now they're really starting to integrate a lot just because
you need to talk to somebody now.
Yeah.
Like in school. I mean, you can't wait 8 hours.
There's a counselor at school. Obviously, you can talk to any of your counselors and your teachers, but there is a behavioral wellness counselor at all of the schools too. So for example, at San Marcos, it's Miss Balacious, and whenever I've been concerned, I do talk to her about different people, and she will pull them right away and check on them.
Nice. Fantastic.
So with that, I think, we're entering the summer, so just keeping in mind with all of the resources that are available to us right now too, not just on the school level, but it is really great to have the school support involved. And so hopefully it's a recovery period right now, but I think if we just keep being supportive and empathetic, we can keep moving through it.
So he was a senior?
That's correct.
And he was ready to graduate. Right on the brink.
Yeah, it happens every year, unfortunately, and sometimes we don't think that some people are affected, or we are really surprised when certain people do. And I don't know a ton about his situation, but it's just important to know that it can affect anybody.
Is there any education to how to recognize those signs? And maybe after the break, we'll be able to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Great.
And our love goes to the family. Let's take a break. This is Erica Salda, and we also have Sarah Gore in the house. All right. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
Sal! I just want to make sure you're still here. Hey, Sal, you have a couple of updates. You have two things you want to talk about. That's why you're here.
Later?
Yeah, you want to do it later?
Yeah,
fine. Well, I'm passing the ball. Passing it back. I got it. I'm throwing it right back to Alexandria. There you go. That's a chest pass right back
there.
to you. All right, got it to you.
Terry, do you want to remind our listeners what question you just asked me?
Got it back to you.
I wanted to know if there are organizations or anything in the schools that teach students how to recognize signs of depression, of suicide, of mental issues that may be going on, so that they can be more aware and perhaps intervene.
So I can tell you specifically that's why we created the Wellness Connection Club, and we have that available at Carp High, Santa Barbara High, Dos Pueblos, San Marcos, and also the middle college at Santa Barbara City College. And Santa Barbara City College has their own branch of that club as well. But basically, whenever we host tables, we provide a lot of resources. We ask kids these same questions just to see if they really feel like they're prepared in those situations. So we do provide a lot of resources. I can tell you that the Santa Barbara Response Network is also a great kind of form of intervention. AHA is a great club too that really provides adult allies in a sense to combat these situations. And AHA, attitude, right. So it stands for Attitude, Harmony, and Achievement. And that's a great club too that I've been a part of. And then, there are a lot of resources. I know that the schools are becoming a little bit more proactive now. We just recently had something at all of the high schools where we hosted a discussion. There were some, I don't know if you saw this at Santa Barbara, but basically it was supposed to hit all of the students, and you saw a few videos and they just discussed possible scenarios. Obviously, it was an old video, so I don't know if it was the best way to approach it, but we're just trying to get kids as much exposure to different ways to handle those situations and different ways to really recognize them as well, so that way they don't, we can see less of this.
Well, everyone whose heart is reaching out, we just celebrate that.
Yeah, it's been a really good movement, I think. So I'm excited at least to see what is to come from it. So anyway, on a higher note, we have Sarah in today. So she was so amazing and was able to come in on short notice. But what did you want to talk about with us today?
Well, yesterday was a deadline for voting registration. And in California, the primary is June 5th, but you have to register ahead of time. So Monday, the 21st, was the deadline to register in time to vote June 5th if you're 18 or will be 18 by June 5th. So I wanted to talk a little bit, sort of recapping about voter registration among high school students and student-led voter registration drives in particular, because there have been a lot of new movements where students are stepping up to the plate to register each other, learn about how they can begin their citizenship and their civic engagement and figuring out how to make decisions in time to fill out the ballot. So pre-registration is a big thing in California and in maybe half of the states in the country, where before you turn 18, you can fill out a voter registration form. And that way you don't have to wait until you turn 18 and maybe miss the chance to vote in your first eligible election. So I wanted to share a couple of resources that have come up recently that students can take advantage of if anyone listening is interested in learning more about how to register your peers. There are a few groups that have been in this space for a while, like League of Women Voters, and they're helping to support some of these student-led movements. One easy thing to do is to text CAP Gown Vote to 44939. So text CAP Gown Vote to 44939 if you're a high school student interested in getting a little support and knowledge about how you can hold a voter registration drive in your school. One of the first things you'll have to do is get permission from your principal, and I recommend reaching out to League of Women Voters for support, because there are a lot of sort of trivia questions you end up learning the answers to about making sure that somebody is filling out the form correctly and that they have enough knowledge to understand picking political parties, for example. So I actually brought the voter guide with me. You guys will probably be familiar with it, but I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, Sam. I have it open to the political parties section because there's 6 political parties in the state of California. And this is something that I enjoy presenting to high school students, because a lot of the time you only learn maybe from your family members about what political party, you get most exposure to. So it's interesting to kind of start the learning process. And in California, that can really start at 16 or earlier, knowing that you can pre-register at 16.
And you're only 15, and so you're going to get a big jump on this, Sam. I'm exciting. You can be the foregoer of 50. You could teach all your friends.
And you can register your friends, too, actually.
Register your friends.
In California, anybody can register anyone else. So in some states, that's not the case. But
this is fantastic. This is good for college resume stuff, by the way, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Sarah will make you a letter. Right? You should help, right? This is huge. Listen, we've got to do stuff like this now.
It's definitely
So when they pre-register, let's say at 16 or 17, do they have to register for a party, or is it simply registering to vote?
So I know people listening can't see this form that I've got my visual aid
Without
here.
my glasses, I can't see it either, so giving it to me is pointless.
So the new voter registration form, if you have a paper form in California, which you can get at the DMV, you can get at the county elections office.
Post office?
Also at post offices.
Do you have some extras with you today?
I do. I have several.
Great. Thank you.
I can leave these with you.
Oh, that's great. And we can mail this in?
If you need to, one good thing to know is that anybody must re-register if they have an address change or a name change or if they want to change their political party. So the question about political parties, let's see, there's 10 sections to the form, and number 8 is I want to choose a political party preference. And you don't have to choose, but it has the parties listed there. And it takes a little bit of research, I think, because there's some counterintuitive names here. One of the common misconceptions is that the American Independent Party, which is listed first on this form, means that you're independent, when actually that's the name of a party that's very conservative, more conservative than the Republican Party. So sometimes students make that mistake. And otherwise, I think it's somewhat self-explanatory. People will say that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have had winning candidates, and I guess try to get that across because you might be drawn to the names of some of the other parties. And anyway, it's up to everybody to choose their own party, of course. But
it's so cool they did that. They just put it A. That's how they went first, right? American Independent Party?
Oh, I think that they maybe change the order every time. They kind of randomize it. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
It's not random here. It is alphabetical here.
Oh, great. There you go. Yeah. It's alphabetical.
Interesting. All about marketing.
Oh, we got to go. Well, no one's watching the smooshy sign. We're just looking at the alphabetical sign. Okay, let's everybody fill up your coffee. This is fascinating. We're all looking at the voter registration form. All right, let's take a little break. This is Erica Salda. We've got a lot more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
Dominique, you had a question.
Just a quick one. I have really enjoyed, I've been signed up for absentee ballot, probably for a decade. And I absolutely love that because I never miss an election. I have lots of time to make decisions about who I'm voting for. And if I don't put it in the mail-in time, I can take it on the day of the election and put it in the voter box. So I was just wondering, do you encourage that?
I have started to encourage that, and I think a lot of people are encouraging that because it's a lot more convenient, and it ends up that more and more people are able to actually vote when they sign up to vote by mail. And in California, it's so easy to vote by mail that's the term now. The absentee is still used in other states where in some places you have to really qualify. You have to prove that you'll be out of town on election day and therefore need an absentee ballot. But in California, anybody, when they register, can check this box. It's section 7 on the paper form that says, I want to get my ballot by mail before each election. And you're right, you can mail it in, put a stamp on it and put it in the mail, or you can return it in person to any polling place on election day within your county or to the county elections office, which is in Santa Barbara County, it's at 4440A Calle Real in Santa Barbara between Turnpike and the 154. I just wanted to also read out the website where people can register online. In California, you can register to vote online, and it's actually even easier than the paper form. And it's registertovote.ca.gov. That's registertovote.ca.gov. And you'll need your driver's license number if you have one and the last 4 of your social security number. And you can get yourself in the system, and there are a few points of validation that the elections office uses to make sure that people are eligible American citizens and that they're 18. So I would encourage people to check that out. And even if you're not 16 yet, knowing that you can pre-register at 16 might be good motivation to begin learning now about these elections and how you can participate in them.
I can just attest to the fact that it is a really simple process. I know that we were talking a lot about it because I just took AP Gov at school, or a government class at school, and we just have all been trying to now educate ourselves. We're all a lot of my classmates are obviously 18, and but even if not, I'm not 18 for a few more months, so it's really nice to know that we can pre-register and just that we're not going to miss any deadlines to potentially vote. So it can all be very informative. I really recommend anybody checking out this information, and yeah, I found it really simple process to go through.
To make a plug from Teen Sports Radio, vote. Your voice is so important. Please.
You want to practice an application now, Sam? Just don't date it. If you want, I can help you fill it out. Because you got a little workout. Do you know what your plan is? I take you to the ball field with, son John, and then you're going to have dinner with son John, and then after, you and I can practice filling out. We just won't date it. We could fill out this out right now. What we could do, we won't decide right now, on, what is it? 8. We won't decide on 8 right now. We'll just leave that open, because I'm not going to strong arm you on anything. We'll just leave 8 open.
Where are we going to go to dinner?
James.
Oh my gosh.
We'll leave 8 open. Because you have to, you're not growing out.
Yeah, Erica, what about this offer for me? No, I'm just kidding.
You deserve James.
That's so funny.
James is open.
No,
sounds like
it really
puppy eyes over here.
I can go to the boathouse.
James, there you go. Look at it. Look at. I guess it's 1, 2, 3. I got to get a big table.
Yeah.
So
finish at that reservation. No, but I would just I would just concur. We all should be registering to vote and keeping that in mind. Like, it doesn't really matter what it does matter what your party is, but nobody should have an influence on that. It's just purely what you decide. But the importance is that everybody is getting their vote out there. And there's a lot of states that really have low voter registration attendance, voting attendance. And so it's important that as many people as we can tell just really get their vote out there.
I would say just put the last election away. I would honestly say I would probably had gotten 50 people to vote because they were so upset, but I will at least, right? Mm-hmm. I got them to vote. I'm like, I don't even want to hear about who you're not going to just vote. Mm-hmm. I was so upset at not wanting to vote. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to vote, okay? Because it is about the vote. Mm-hmm. People died to give you the right to vote. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just all I'm saying. I don't really care who you do it to. I say, and just that's what really hurt me the most. That's all I'm saying. And then I'll drop it after that. Okay, that's it.
One thing I've heard.
Please vote.
One thing I've heard that can be effective to get people to actually vote is asking people, what time of day are you going to vote if you're going to the polls, or really to visualize what your plan is. And some people say pledging to vote. There's some people who will say, I'm going to pledge to vote and make a little form that people can sign. And it seems like, if you pledge to vote, you're more likely to follow through.
I like that. That's brilliant. I like that. That's really good. And I like the whole thing of the pre-registration, because that's a commitment. And I like the thing of, like you say, the online, because it's just like...
makes it a lot easier.
That's brilliant, too.
Oh, there's also this guide that a high school student wrote, and I'm going to put that link.
Right. We'll share that on the Facebook page and on the Teen Sports Radio page and YouTube, etc.
Junior in high school made it for other students to learn how to register students in high school.
Oh, do we have a little time? Okay. What Erica had said about people dying for our right to vote, it sort of sounds like a cliche because we've heard that so often, but it's really true. Was it the suffragettes? Was that the booze or was that the vote?
That was a vote.
That was a vote. Okay.
The Prohibition Act was the booze. I don't know how much they were suffering
from booze. Suffragette. And I read what these women went through.
Right.
I mean, they were manhandled. They were beaten up. They were thrown in jail. Mm-hmm. They were treated very terribly and roughly. They were courageous beyond the 21st century woman. These women were not living in a time when it was acceptable to be variant in any way from those role models, which were sedate and subdued. So these women were incredibly courageous. And, we hear all over the world what people go through just to be able to go to vote. They risk their lives to go to vote. And I think we don't remember that. And we need to remember, more of us need to remember how precious our right is to do that.
I think John Lewis, congressman from Georgia, who was assaulted and survived a brutal assault marching during the civil rights movement for the right to vote before the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And he said, voting is the most powerful nonviolent tool we have. and we have to vote. We have to encourage young people to vote and not so young people to vote. And he has a really strong message to deliver. And I also just recently watched a movie about Nelson Mandela and about how he emphasized voting as being the real peaceful, nonviolent tool to making decisions about your own future. So
what happens when we take a look at the phenomena that people are bringing up these days, that elections get fixed, that elections, that Florida, what was that whole thing with the tab that they didn't, the chads weren't torn right.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
And then the Russian manipulation that's supposed to have possibly happened. I mean, a lot of people get disenfranchised because of that. How do you talk to people who feel like elections aren't necessarily what they used to be? The integrity isn't there.
Yeah, I think voting integrity is hugely important, and I think that there's a changing battlefield with new threats now. I think voting suppression has a really long history, but what you're describing about some of the threats to our system are new and changing every day, and I think that we can do a better job of responding to those things. I think I'm going to quote my friend Darcel Elliott. She works for Doss Williams, the Board of Supervisors, and she said, in general, you want to be a part of the process that's making it better. So if you're a person who feels skeptical that the system is broken, that your vote may not matter, that's a reason to get more, not less involved. There's plenty of advocacy opportunities that you can get involved with. So
well put.
I agree with that.
Well put. Thank you, Sarah Gore. Hey, we've got a short one coming up. Stay tuned for more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
Let's get some
So just again, to reattest to what you know what I mean.
Yes.
The website is. Now you threw me off.
Blah blah.
It is register to vote. .ca.gov, and that's where you can. It's really easy. It's similar to this mail-in ballot, but it's actually a little bit easier to fill out.
The registration form.
Right, the registration form. There you go. Where else could we check? Where else could people look if they want information?
The county elections office is a place that I frequent now, so maybe that won't be a hit with everybody. But I mentioned the address before, 4440A Calle Real in Santa Barbara near the Turnpike. And if you go in there, you can get your questions answered. You can get a voter registration form. You can get one of these guides, voter guides. So if you start to geek out on this stuff like I have, then that's a great place to go. I know that there are other resources too, and I'll send those to you to put online.
And we'll throw it all up on Teen Sports Radio, and we'll have our web guy do the same. And Sal Rodrigues, tell us what we're going to be doing. What are you going to be doing?
On Ben Holland, UCLA basketball coach, got fired. He's in Mississippi State now. He's an alumni of the Goleta Boys and Girls Club. We're having a barbecue on Saturday, August 4th. And we're honoring George T. Cellini. He's like the godfather of the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Santa Barbara.
Nice.
He's just turned 87, and we just want to honor him because he saved a lot of lives, and he worked with a lot of kids, me being one of them. And it's going to be on Saturday at Stowe Park from about 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And I'm trying to get all the alumni from the Goleta Boys and Girls Club to show up for that. And it's going to be a fun event.
Nice.
The other thing I want to talk about is my son, Bo Rodrigues, just graduated from Mississippi State, got his master's degree under Ben Holland. He's a grad assistant. And Orlando Johnson played at UCSB, played for Indiana Pacers. They're going to do a basketball clinic at the Goleta Club.
Nice.
Late June, and we're going to try and get the basketball program back where it was at Goleta. I just talked to Michael Baker, and I'm going to commit myself to do that. So that's going to be late June, and if anybody's interested, they can call me at 805-448-8332.
So Bo's coming back to Santa Barbara?
Bo's here right now.
Nice.
And Orlando's on the way back also. So these are basketball players, and they're really good kids, and they want to.
Say your number again, Sal.
805-448-8332. I ran the program at Goleta for almost 30 years, and once I left, it sort of fell apart, and I'm going to try and bring it back. So,
woo! Sal's back in the house. Hoopsta! Hoopsta!
Now I know who he is. He's the resurrector. He was the director, and now he's the resurrector.
Sal's back.
It's a good one.
All right. Sam, are you ready for my son?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Sam was born ready.
That's it. He's always ready. Sarah, we are so honored. Can you please come back like every month?
Thank you.
How can we help you? Because honestly, we really want to help the whole registration process. So whatever we can do, Teen Sports Radio, I can't even speak when you're around me.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
Teen Sports Radio is here for you.
Thank you.
Seriously, honestly.
Thanks.
Can we give you a commercial? Seriously.
Let's write the jingle.
Let's do a jingle.
What are you doing after this? We can. Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll sing. Whatever you do. We love you.
Well, actually, every single Tuesday,
every single Tuesday.
And not every single Tuesday is an election, but it is Super Tuesdays.
Whatever we could do for you.
Yeah.
Santa Barbara, we love you. Be kind. See you next week. Woo!